Thanks for tuning in. This is a Sweet Cyclist. Today we're going to be looking at the Light in Motion Vya Pro Smart Headlight. So here we have the Light in Motion Vya Pro Smart Headlight in its packaging. It's a very unique and innovative light from Light in Motion that we are excited to review today. We'd like to thank Light in Motion for providing this light for the review. This is one of the brightest and most advanced lights in the Vya product line, which includes both headlights and taillights. Let's go over the specifications for the Vya Pro Smart Headlight. It has a retail price of $49.99. It has 250 lumens of output from a single Cree LED. And as with other Vya products, the USB connector is built directly into the light, which means you don't need an additional cable. It's IP67 rated, which means it's fully dust-proof and water resistant up to 1 meter, which is great for wet weather commuting or falling into puddles. The smart part of the title is earned by featuring both an ambient light sensor as well as a motion sensor. Using the two sensors, the Vya Pro Smart automatically adjusts the light output between a day mode, which is a SmartPulse mode, that's good for 6 hours, and a solid night mode, which is good for 2 hours. Additionally, it can turn the light on when motion is detected and goes into a standby mode when it's idle for more than 30 seconds. These features make the Vya Pro Smart very unique compared to other lights on the market. Now let's take the light out of the packaging. I'd like to point out that Light in Motion does a really great job in terms of being eco-friendly by minimizing the amount of plastic use and really minimizing the overall packaging itself. This is very similar to the Vya Switch, very minimal design with a basic receptacle to hold the light, a user manual at the bottom, and this nice kind of cardboard design. Looking at the contents, we get the basic package. We have the mount itself with the rubber mount already attached. We have a user manual, which is very basic, and the light with the mount attached. And here we see the light. It's a very unique form factor as well. This is very similar to the Vya Switch. And as we mentioned, there's no USB cable, as the USB port is directly built into the light itself, which is a really unique feature. Now let's take a second to look at the weight of the Vya Pro Smart Headlight. Weighing just the light head itself, we're at 32 grams. And if we add both the mount and then the stem mount, that brings us up to a weight of 50 grams. So this is really light, which is not surprising considering the small form factor of the light itself. Now let's take a closer look at the Vya Pro Smart Headlight. This features a single Cree LED out front that produces 250 lumens of output. It has a smooth reflector with a flat lens that slightly protrudes out the body. There's no on and off button here, so to simulate it being in the mount, you can kind of hold the USB port. And as you can see, you get a pretty good side visibility with these built-in side lights, as well as that protruding lens which kind of reflects the light. On top, we have the Vya Pro labeling on here, and this kind of rubbery plastic kind of feeling body. This is made out of plant-based materials and is bio-renewable. So it's a very unique design that's slightly transparent as well. If you look closely, you can actually see the circuit board on the back side here with the Light in Motion logo. Here's a little divot where the Light in Motion switch actually has the button. On the sides, it has this kind of graded indentations to make it easy to handle. And on the back side, we have the built-in USB port. This is very unique to the Vya product series. Typically, you have a USB port that you have to plug in. With this, you simply plug it into your computer to charge. This does mean it takes up a little bit more space due to the width of the light itself, so you do have to be aware of that. But by not requiring any cables, it's very convenient to use. Additionally, it has a O-ring built into this connection to enable that IP67 rating. So that's the light, and as I mentioned, no on and off button, no mode switch. You simply plug it in and go, or simulate it here with your hand. Let's take a look at the mount. So this is another unique feature of the Vya series. This is kind of shared between, I think, the switch and other headlights, as well as the taillights. So the mount is kind of two parts. You have one part that stays on the bike itself, and this is the handlebar mount, although they do have a GoPro adapter that's available optionally. And these kind of use a little plastic stem post here where the rubber mount sticks into for a pretty secure feel. And this is not the typical really thin rubber mounts you see with some of the cheap lights. This is really thick and looks like it should be able to be robust to multiple uses. The mount features this kind of indentation here with a slot, and that's where you plug in the primary mount. So this has a little ring on here, and you simply slide it through. I'll take a bit of force. You just kind of force it in, pull it all the way, and then there you go. Now it's similar to the Vya Urban series of lights in that it has these little indentations to lock the light in. It's not included with the Vya Pro, but I think with the off-roading lights, they do include that little bolt here to prevent this from backing out. I haven't noticed any issues with this backing out or any jitter. And with this kind of unique mounting design, you can actually rotate it, which is very rare to see these days. Another thing I wanted to point out with the Vya Pro is that the low battery indicator is not very intuitive as well. Due to the lack of any OLED screens, displays, or buttons, you have to rely on the side lights. So if I turn it on here, this is the solid night mode, and the low battery indication in solid night mode is a blinking headlight with a side light blinking twice as much. The daytime mode has a similar kind of non-intuitive blinking of the side lights versus the headlight to determine whether it's low battery or not. And with the kind of lower runtime of 2 hours at night, I think that's kind of one weakness of the light. Now let's take a look at some competitors to the Vya Pro headlight. On the left here, we have the Topeak Headlux 450 USB. This is a new light from Topeak that we recently reviewed. I'll put a link in the top right. It features two Cree LEDs, a metal body, and a kind of similar elongated low-profile design. If we put these side by side, you can see they're very similar in height and length, while the Topeak uses a external kind of USB port for charging compared to the more compact Vya. It's obviously a lot lighter too, with the Vya being this kind of plant-based material, while the Topeak has a metal body. Another kind of competitor here would be the Magicshine Ulti 1000. This is $85, but sports 1000 lumens. This is obviously a brighter light and features a daytime running light, as well as a single Cree LED. Comparing these two, you can see although the Ulti 1000 is pretty compact in terms of a commuter light, that the Vya Pro is significantly smaller, making it a lot easier for kind of urban riders. Additionally, both in height and width, it's a lot more compact and easier to kind of mount and dismount. It also features smarter features such as the ambient light sensor and motion sensor that the Ulti does not have. Also note the Ulti is $85. Another interesting comparison here is looking at Light & Motion's own Vya Switch taillight. You can see they share a lot of components in terms of the kind of lens and body design. What the Vya Switch has is kind of grating on the headlight. You can see this kind of distributes the light horizontally for better visibility as a taillight, while the Vya Pro has a more spot and flood style beam pattern, which you'd want from a headlight. The bodies are both this kind of plant-based material, so kind of have a rubbery feel. They're both very compact, almost the same dimensions, with these kind of protruding lens to improve the side visibility. Now let's take a look at the Vya Pro light output. The Pro selects between a daytime SafePulse mode and a nighttime solid state mode. As you can see here, when I enter a dark tunnel, it will automatically go to a higher output solid mode. and then revert back to the daytime SafePulse mode once there's enough light. It's also worth pointing out that the daytime SafePulse mode does a great job at attracting attention when riding in the day with its irregular pulse. Now let's go over the pros and cons of the Vya Pro. One of the things we really liked is the unique form factor. It's very lightweight and compact. The integrated USB connector is a really nice touch. You don't need an additional cable. And the automatic output mode selection is a really nice feature. It's something that you have to get used to initially, but once you do, it's great that you don't have to fumble with different output modes or remember different user interfaces. Some of the negatives of the light is that the lumen per dollar ratio is not as great as other lights. With only 250 maximum lumens in the solid state mode, it's a little bit expensive at $50. The non-intuitive low battery indicator is also hard to read. I've run out of battery a few times now riding with this light. And also the auto standby delay is only 30 seconds. While this is a nice feature to avoid running out of battery, you can often find yourself with the light off while sitting at longer intersections. Now let's give the light a final rating. Out of 10, I would give it a 9. It's a very intelligent and compact light. I really like the buttonless interface, although you do have to get used to it. Once you do, it makes a lot of sense and you wonder why other light manufacturers haven't done this. Although the light output itself is a little bit lower for the price, I think it does a great job as a daytime visibility light or as a backup light, and even a primary light if you're doing more urban riding with a lot of ambient light. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel. You can follow us on Instagram at The Sweet Cyclist, as well as our website at thesweetcyclist.com. This is Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.